No. My cramps are really bad.
Let's go and get our steps in. Help with your breathing on stage. You be up there sounding winded. Put your tongue in it.
All right, we're back for Rap Shit Season 2, Episode 3. Nothing too exciting in this episode. Feels like it was just an exposition or rising action episode for this season so far. Not going to spend too much time recapping this episode. Mia's starting a new relationship. The scene is hilarious.
I'm saying, you don't want him, you just pass him to me, because we can't let no good nigga go to waste. Damn, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, bitch.
That's my second time, ho. You and try the nigga. Bitches is.
So very well acted. Let's talk shot composition. When I was in art school a long time ago, I took several classes only on composition, where we had to examine every image in terms of big, bold shapes. And later, when I went to school for video production and filmmaking, I came across a couple of people who felt, since they weren't necessarily visual-minded people, they couldn't even recognize what would be a good composition in the frame of the camera. And I realized, based on the classes that I took in art school, that it's a skill set just like anything else. It's a muscle you exercise with practice when you're out shooting, being able to see composition quickly. And especially if you end up doing like documentary style run and gun video shooting, you train yourself to think fast and to be able to frame it up very fast. So here's a great example of decisions from the director and cinematographer about where to place the camera, using a simple composition to communicate an idea in a split second. You can read into this image. Maybe there's meaning behind it. Maybe it was just a fast decision they came to while on set that day. One interpretation is this image shows these two about to be in their own world, starting their new relationship. It also quickly communicates that he plays piano without adding any obvious wide shot of a piano next to them. So in a single quick shot, with one composition, we get multiple pieces of information.
No, a proud boy just tried to fuck me. Chastity, wait, please!
Chastity and Shauna end up going on an unexpected journey. Chastity is really interesting in this episode. Her function in Mia and Shauna's journey so far is that she's someone who is kind of pushing, pulling, and sometimes guiding them, trying to really make their dreams come true. She's being a part of their unit, but what's the most interesting part is she's not even sure why she's even in it. It's almost like habitual for her, as she's explaining. She's like a fighter in her own life. She's a hustler. She's gonna get things done no matter what. She sees an opportunity, and she's trying to make things happen for all of them by any means necessary. And what's cool is she alludes to the fact that she is this way because of all the extreme hardships she's faced in her life. It's a very interesting character motivation. The scene to me is kind of an excuse to showcase Chastity and Shauna bonding, while at the same time exposing the viewer to Chastity's motivations, what drives her. So in general, whenever I look at outdoor scenes shot in sunlight, I try to figure out how they all shot it, how they place the characters in relation to the sun, and how they try to minimize the harshness of the sun. There's strategic blocking happening here too. In this case, they shot against the sun. Characters are being backlit by the sun. Looks like a high noon scenario. The sun is pretty high, so they had a very short window of time to shoot the scene, basically because high noon sun directly above the head makes people look like shit with harsh shadows. So sometimes they get wide shots first to capture the right angle of the light hitting the characters. Then, when they have to do mediums and close-ups, they use modifiers to soften the light, either overhead or just by bouncing light from essentially a huge whiteboard or fabric that's placed in front of the talent and next to or in close proximity to the camera facing at them. And that fills in the harsh shadows, so it's not so contrasty on the darker shadow side of the face. So look at the blocking here. The wide shot faces them, and they're facing against the sun. And when they turn around to address the lady with the gun, they are lit by the sun in a more traditional portrait lighting with a Hollywood V on their face. There is probably no way of diffusing the sun here since it's a pretty wide shot, So you can see the harshness of the shadows. Then look at the difference when they have their close-ups versus this wide shot. The close-ups, the shadows are generally softer. And then the wides, showing their full body, because they don't have a big enough scrim or diffusion material to hang overhead and soften the impact of the sun over a really large area, you just see, how harsh the shadows really are. But when it's cut side to side, you don't really notice it that much. Everything generally makes sense because of the direction of the sunlight is in the consistent place. All right, what did you think of the episode's filmmaking techniques? How would you recreate an outdoors scene on an indie budget? Share your ideas in the comments, like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video where we break down some of the filmmaking artistry of Rap Shit Season 2, Episode 4. Thanks for watching.